Hey, good evening, everybody. Glenn Davis here with you on the 22 as always. Tonight, Stan Goldberg is back with us. You all remember Stan as a parent advocate here in the city. He also does his own podcast and website, seniordad.com, just spelled out as it sounds. We're going to check in with Stan about what's going on in the school district. Student assignment is big these days. Student assignment. Let's talk about student assignment. So, personally, I don't like all three options, and I think they need to go back and be a little more creative.
That's not going to happen.
Of course
that's not going to happen. That's not realistic. There's a timeline. They're marching along. They want it approved. They want to have community meetings to echo what they want to hear. Yeah, one of the groups.
Timeline's bogus.
Wait a second. One of the groups, which I won't mention the name, who got information last year, and they're testifying before the school board, and they say, we got a lot of information from the parents, and they wanted to have local schools. But we're not going to recommend that. We don't agree with them. We think this one should happen. So why did you listen to the people if you didn't agree with them and you're going to recommend something else? That's nonsense.
But, it's token public involvement, right?
It's
token good governance is actually a better term. Because supposedly you want to go out and get your community feedback and you come in.
Okay, so you're saying we're being jerked around.
Yeah.
Okay, and they decided what they wanted and now they're making the noise around it?
Sure.
But you see, usually when you make a thing like this, you have three choices, and one of them's a throwaway. Okay, old Chaim Ganat, who was a child psychologist, he gives you three choices, and you make one completely untenable that the child doesn't want. You give one that's moderate, and then one the direction that you want to go in. But these guys picked number 3, which was a throwaway.
The board.
Yeah.
But see,
that's not.
That shouldn't be perceived as a throwaway because
but it is the
you've
throwaway.
Been paying attention to the majority of that board.
We don't have $50 million.
If you've been paying attention to that board, you would know that 4 of them would pick number 3, right? And my impression is that
I thought they had better sense than to spend money that we don't have. We don't have $50 million to put into busing. We don't have the gas to waste. We don't have the money to waste. And we don't have the kids to waste. No one has said anything about educating kids. What's best for educating kids? The parents know what they want. Parents across the city are saying the same thing. We want local schools.
Sure.
And then people say, no, you really don't want that. Well, yes, they do. They want local schools.
But they also want good programming, though. If you look at the surveys, right, there's like a dichotomy there. There's conflict.
What you have to do is when you put these new reading programs in, you have to put them into the schools of greatest need first. Right. Because forget about the middle class schools. Go to the schools of greatest need first. That's the trade-off for getting local schools. You have to help this part of the community. You have to educate them. You have to bring up the literacy rate quickly. You have to address it. You have to do it properly. You have to build wraparound services. You have to put ways to keep these kids from dropping out of high school and continuing through. That has to be done in all of these areas of town where we have the greatest need. To spread the kids all over the place so you can't concentrate teaching and you can't concentrate teaching methods just doesn't seem logical.
Right.
It's not cost effective, and it hasn't worked to date.
Right. Mariel, so what school do you go to?
Groton.
Groton. You do go to Groton Elementary. Is Mrs. Robinson still the principal?
Mm-hmm.
She is? I like her. I've known her for a number of years. What grade are you in now?
3rd.
3rd grade? Wow.
And what do you think of Groton?
I like it.
Yeah, it's a good school, huh? Oh, yes. Right, Mariel. Yeah. See? And the camera was on me, so...
rather than Mariel.
Didn't get to see your star moment. So you're going to be there till 5th grade, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys still do the movie night?
Yeah.
You do? That's pretty fun, huh? What was the movie this year?
I forgot.
Really?
What about when they throw the eggs off the roof?
Oh, you're supposed to, it's way at the end of the year, but you're supposed to make a box with an egg in it, and it's supposed to be protected, and then they drop them from the roof, and we see which ones cracked and which ones didn't.
How did yours crack?
Well, in 2nd grade, it was the only year when it didn't crack.
Oh, really? Wow. So we'll see what happens this year, right? Mm-hmm. Do you root for it to crack, or do you root for it to not crack?
Not crack.
Yeah. See, because I'd be rooting for it to crack. just because, more destructive nature, I guess. But I like to see a mess. So
Yeah, but you're a builder, and you're a consensus builder, and you're a community builder.
I try.
And so that speaks against wanting to see the eggs crack.
Well, we maybe. Maybe. So I broke our flow in terms of the student assignment, but I'll tell you, I thought one was the throwaway.
Ah, well.
I thought one was the throwaway because it's such an outdated way of assigning students to schools.
It's a reasonable way. It's the way that's used mostly around the country.
Well,
And it's the way that it is most cost effective. It
It's-
builds community, and it makes community care, and it makes people have commitment for their local schools and the people around the schools. Plus, it gives you the opportunity to build and wrap around services into those same buildings and get more use out of it and answer to the needs of the community. There are a lot of advantages to it,
Right.
and
see, I think in cities of 100,000 and under, you can, that system's still applicable. And where I grew up, we had 6 elementary schools, so that's how we did it in our town. And then, obviously there was only one high school and one junior high school. So, but I think in the city of San Francisco,
you can probably save a lot of money on the student assignment department with a number one. You can trim it down quite a bit because you wouldn't need that many people. And so you'd have a savings in that way. It's a lot cleaner system. It's also a lot clearer for somebody to understand the system, which is part of the problems of the other alternatives, is that it's not clear and understandable, and the public won't understand it. And the zebra option, you have acceptance is going to be a big problem.
yeah. Well, we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what they come up with. I don't favor any of the 3. I think it was,
None of the above.
I don't think they worked too hard to come up with those because they've been sitting on the shelf for a long, long time. I also think the district missed a big chance here to do bigger strategic thinking using student assignment as the foundation and then building their strategies for programming, transportation, staffing, and facilities off of that student assignment.
Well,
So-
I think that's a very good point, and I think that some of the issues related to number one, some of the wording was a little loosey-goosey there, and particularly with regard to special ed and so forth. And I would like to see more definitions of number one. I just think that the board was a bit hasty in getting rid of number one, and they should put that back in the mix and let the community talk about all 3 options, if that's the way they want, if they just don't want to get rid of the zebra option 1, 2, 3.
Right. Well, we'll see. Stan, once again, thanks for coming in. Thanks for bringing your daughter. It's nice to meet you, Mariel.